Well, because over here I did this and that did not apply. That helps me. That's the feedback that is self-corrective to make my proposition next time better. And it may take a century or more before we refine things to where it is predictable. But look around you of all the things that are pretty closely on the money. And so it's something you have to cope with and deal with and or somehow harmonize it with your religious beliefs.
I don't need to cut
That's
you
it.
off.
I'm off.
Keep
I'm
going,
through.
But I'd like to have both of you approach it. Obviously, we got young and old. There's a conflict there. Young Earth, old Earth. We got some
young people and old people too.
Yeah. But we had some different facts dealing with that. I'd like to deal with, as in your estimation, extra biblical proof. In other words, what's the best evidence that creation is a fact, not just a faith? And then, what is your best evidence that evolution is a fact, not a faith? And you may say both are faiths or both are facts, or you may say, I'm just throwing out the question. What's your best? I have several questions about evidences for evolution, evidences for creation, and we're talking scientifically now, not from the standpoint of Genesis 1.
Okay, I would quickly say both are faiths. Neither can be proved.
You would not say that creation is a fact?
I believe creation is a fact, but it's not an empirical. I cannot offer any empirical evidence. By that I mean testable, observable, repeatable, demonstratable in the laboratory, because I wasn't there. It cannot be done again, evidently. It's a one-time event that is not testable. It's not. So by the strict definition of empirical, scientific empirical evidence, it is not, and neither is evolution. They are both hypothesis, theories, whatever word you want to use.
Let me stop you right there.
Okay.
Because now, how do you feel about evolution? Do you still say
I feel it is not a fact. Evolution is an explanation that draws together the relationships displayed over and over again in facts. And it is something that we know more about each decade or year or otherwise. It's self-correcting and will be improved. And to say that, for instance, Darwin was perfectly correct, no, he was not perfectly wrong either. And Homo sapiens, of course, doesn't count very much because we've taken ourselves out of natural selection and out of the arena of simply survival of the fittest. On the other hand, I might add that in our indifference, if I were going to get on religion, on anything, I would say it has only been in the past decade that I've seen very much toward stewardship toward this earth. And now in the last week, I've seen a lot more of churches taking on the stewardship of this earth and not to subdue it. It's not a plaything for you to louse up, and with the environment thing, and it's almost mirrors the way industry suddenly said, oh, we've always been interested in the environment. We're going to have to come to grips with the fact that Homo sapiens has lived prodigally, and we have abused.
We've all sinned and come short of the glory of God. That sounds like you're talking my language.
Hey, I mean, I've spent a lot of time in a lot of churches.
Let me say this, and I'll get back, because, and I think I stated on the radio yesterday, I believe creation because the Bible says I'm a very simple-minded preacher. But I believe both of you have some evidences that would cause one to believe, and obviously you can't prove nobody was there. I guess that's what you're both saying. Nobody was there to document. We don't have any eyewitness accounts. But what are the facts that cause you to believe, outside extra-biblical facts that cause you to believe creation, cause you to believe evolution, besides the age of the earth? Because we've already dealt with that age of the earth.
Okay, yes, to finish, the complexity of life indicates the design, and he referred to fossils are accidents because things are designed to recycle themselves, and I agree the whole universe is designed, and that indicates a designer. All I have to do is pick up any book and realize that book had an author. To think that a book would come together by an accident, an explosion in a printing press, is absolute folly. And to look at the design in nature and to say that this is a result of an accumulation of accidents over billions of years is the height of folly. It had to be designed. That's the best evidence for creation. We have the creation itself, the design, is the best evidence for a creator, just like an automobile is the best evidence for a designer. Sure, the automobiles have flaws, but they don't come together from an explosion in a junkyard. They are designed, and it takes intelligent input and effort. I worked at General Motors for 2 years, and not too intelligent design, but a little bit.
What about, so would that be geologically, any?
Same. The Earth also has some incredible processes of recycling and purifying the atmosphere and purifying the water, and the very fact that we have water. Water is an incredibly designed commodity without which life cannot exist. When it freezes, it floats instead of sinks like every other liquid that freezes. That was designed so that the fish could live during the winter time. There's so many things that the Earth is just the precise distance from the sun and the precise mass to match the gravitational attraction matches our body, and everything is just precisely designed for human life, and we can only exist in a thin slice even of our own Earth. We cannot live too high in the atmosphere or too deep in the ocean. So there's it's very obvious it was designed by a designer. Now, as far as who he was, you know, the religions of the world argue that all the time. I happen to know him personally, so I don't have a question. I don't have a problem about that. But I think the best evidence for creation is the design.
I chuckled not because I was laughing at you, but I was reminded of my paleontological and biological friends who are in the business of classifying and arguing whether this particular creature is the same species as this or that. And since species by biology has more to do with whether they can produce offspring that is fertile, I always ask them, well, how do you know whether this clam could reproduce with that clam fossil? Classifications and design are creations of Homo sapiens. We are the ones who generate classifications. We're very upset when things don't fit our classifications. Whether it be simple, such as, well, it used to be simple. You could tell a boy and a girl from the one in the dress was a girl, and the one with the short hair in the pants was a boy. Those criteria are not valid anymore, and so we have to come up with alternatives. And when it comes to dividing and recognizing species of plants and animals, many times the record is full of examples where a species was named because of the root and another species was named because of the leaf, and when they found that leaf on that tree with that root, that was embarrassing. But because we try to classify things, the shrinks try to classify you in terms of are you psychotic or are you paranoid, humans are not easily classified, and neither is the rest of the animal and plant kingdom.
What do you see as the
creation? Whose creation? Judeo-Christian creation? Buddhist creation? There are many beliefs about what creation was. And we don't work for a particular theological context. I can tell you this, and any scientist will tell you, that we haven't the foggiest idea where matter and energy came from. We can just say, through the conservation and first and second laws of thermodynamics, that nothing is created or destroyed. But where it came from initially, we haven't the slightest idea. And anyone who attempts to explain it is either looking for a little PR or...
Sign that quote down here.
That's all right.